What exactly did Jungkook say that made Taehyung stand up, look at him with an expression that was hard to explain, and then leave the studio without saying a word? Is this the beginning of a fractured friendship that has been considered perfect by the army? The studio was previously filled with laughter. The warm atmosphere felt as usual when the 7 BTS members gathered. The camera lights came on, and the staff's voices sounded lightly welcoming them one by one. Jungkook sat in the corner, wearing his usual black hoodie, a gentle smile on his face. Next to him, Taehyung looked relaxed, with a calm look and his brown hair slightly covering his eyebrows. No one expected that a few minutes later, the atmosphere would change completely. What did Jungkook say that made Taehyung stand up suddenly and leave the room? Why did the staff, who are usually quick to be silent when the moment happened? And what made the army who saw the behind-the-scenes footage suddenly flood the comments full of emotions and question marks? Those questions flooded the army's online community. In fact, many claim to have rewatched the footage dozens of times and still don't understand. Why does Taehyung look so hurt? It all started with the Truth Chair segment, part of BTS's usually fun-filled variety sessions. This time, each member must answer one personal question addressed directly by the other member, without knowing who the sender is. Jungkook gets a turn to ask Taehyung a question. That time, the atmosphere was still light. Some of the previous jokes made the whole room laugh. However, when Jungkook's question was read, the world seemed to stop spinning for a few seconds. When was the last time you were honest with me, without trying to look like the version I want to look like? That sentence. Penetrating silence. Nobody laughed. Nothing moves. Taehyung looked at Jungkook.
Old.
Not in anger, but with something much more painful, disappointed. His eyes don't blink. He's holding his breath. Then silently, without speaking to anyone, he got up, pushed the chair slowly, and left the studio. It a long-buried wound? Did Jungkook know that his words would touch something so deep in Taehyung's heart? Or is it a question that has never been answered? The staff were immediately confused. Jimin, who was sitting not far from them, turned to Jungkook with a surprised and slightly panicked look. RM stood up, whispering to the producer. Jungkook remained silent. His hands clenched. His gaze was blank. And in that very second, the army watching through the monitor camera knew something big had just happened. I didn't mean to hurt him. I just wanted to know. I just want him to be honest, just once. Jungkook said slowly when the camera was no longer recording. But unfortunately, some microphones are still on. And that voice is now spreading widely, becoming a viral audio piece in the army community, sparking 1,000 speculations and 1,000,000 curiosities. Why does Jungkook feel that Taehyung is dishonest? Is there something they've been hiding from the public? Is it about the past, about friendship, or about guilt that has never been resolved? Some of the army began to recall moments in the past. As Taehyung looks away from Jungkook's gaze on stage, as they sat far apart backstage at their last concert in Busan. Some even shared a video in which Taehyung appears to refuse to welcome Jungkook's embrace in the middle of a photo session. That time is considered normal.
But now?
Every detail is a mystery. The question now is not just about what Jungkook said, but why is he saying it now? And what does all of that mean for their relationship as best friends, as brothers, and as BTS? After the incident, the recording was stopped early. ARMY who attended the live session immediately felt that something was missing. The video that was finally uploaded on BTS's official channel has been cut. The moment when Taehyung stood up gone. Jungkook's question inaudible. Only the stiff expressions of the members remained. And comments from the army? Directly flooded. Why was the segment suddenly cut? We know something was deleted. What are you hiding? Jungkook's sentence is not just a question. It was like a long-held explosion. There's pain there. Taehyung rarely reacts like that. This is not a joke. It's something real. While the army tried to piece together the puzzle, other speculations sprang up. Some attributed this to Taehyung's cryptic message on Weverse a few days earlier. You know I tried, but that's not all I can say. Is that a message to Jungkook? Does she feel like she can't be herself in the face of the magne who always looks out for her more than anyone else? And what about the moments before that, when Jungkook appeared to be more silent when asked about the intermember relationship in their latest interview? Was the silence really an inaudible scream? And is that question just the tip of the iceberg of the wound that has been buried so far? Until this news is compiled, Taehyung has yet to give an official statement. Jungkook has yet to appear on a public platform. What is certain, however, that one sentence has changed a dynamic that had been considered unshakable. When was the last time you were honest with me, without trying to look like the version I want to look like? That's not just a question. It was like a call. Or maybe a request and a need to understand, to feel close, or to demand answers that have been avoided so far. Now the army is wondering, is BTS facing a stealthy crisis deeper than we imagined? And will this all lead to an emotional breakup that slowly begins to be seen behind the camera spotlight? We will continue to follow the development of this emotionally stirring story. But before that, you know what hurts more than a breakup? When two people love each other, no longer able to understand each other. However, the biggest question that now hangs over the minds of millions of soldiers is this just a momentary emotional moment, or a sign of a wound that has never really healed? What really happened between Jungkook and Taehyung, two best friends who for years seemed so close, so harmonious, and so sincere to the world? Many thought their relationship was like a brother. They shared the stage, laughter, even tears together. They laugh at variety shows, share hotel rooms on tour, and even spend vacation time together. But no matter how strong a relationship looks from the outside, who knows what kind of storm is hiding behind the smile shown to the camera? ARMY began to dig. One popular account in the international fanbase shared a compilation of moments between Jungkook and Taehyung over the past 6 months. When watched in sequence, what was initially thought to be just an ordinary change of mood now feels like a consistent pattern. Small distances, a smile that seems forced, and body gestures that are not as warm as usual. One of the footage even shows how Taehyung indirectly dodged when Jungkook tried to talk to him during a rehearsal break. Some people dismiss it as tired or a common misunderstanding. But after what happened in that studio, it all becomes felt different. The question is now increasingly piercing. Is Jungkook too demanding of honesty from someone who may not be ready to open up all over himself? Or does Taehyung feel that their friendship has turned into a relationship full of pressure and expectations? From a psychological point of view, the dynamics between two best friends who are constantly under the spotlight of the cameras can be very complicated. It is not easy to be part of a group with millions of eyes that are always attentive to every movement, every word, and even a facial expression that may be just a fraction of a second. In such pressure, it is not impossible that a sense of saturation, disappointment, or even confusion grows quietly behind all the sweet smiles that are presented to the public. A former BTS staffer, who did not want to be named, made a comment to the closed fan community. Taehyung is a very sensitive person. He can feel pressure even from those closest to him. And Jungkook, he loves BTS and its members in a very deep way. But sometimes love can also make a person demand too much, even without realizing it. The comment went viral immediately. Fans split in two. Some felt that Jungkook shouldn't have posed such questions in front of the camera. Others supported Jungkook's courage to be honest, because as they often say, BTS is built on honesty and unfeigned love. However, is love alone enough when two hearts can no longer talk to each other without hurting? The night after the incident, Weverse was suddenly crowded. A short post appeared from Taehyung's account. Just one sentence. Sometimes the most painful are those we wish we could understand. It doesn't take much to say. The phrase is like a storm in a whisper. And ARMY, who always understood the silent language of the members, immediately felt that something was much deeper than it seemed. Comments flooded the upload. Some begged them to speak openly. Some simply wrote, "We're here. We believe." Jungkook himself has not given any response on social media. He is absent from live broadcasts that he usually does at least once a week. Her Instagram account remained silent, leaving only the last post from 2 weeks ago, a photo of the night sky with a caption, "Even the darkest night keeps the light that has not yet appeared." Now, the question that haunts the ARMY is, will they ever sit together again and talk like they used to? Or is this the beginning of an ever-widening gap? HYB is not yet given an official clarification. In fact, some local media outlets who tried to find out about the incident were rejected with a short answer. We cannot comment on the personal relationship between the members. But every on. And just as the world seemed to freeze in confusion, one unmissable name of this emotional dynamic slowly came to the fore: Jimin, a SA figure who often mediates secretly in the relationship between members. Many ARMY began to put their hopes on him to open their voices. Moreover, some time ago Jimin had shared a song with lyrics that now feels like a harbinger of the beginning of this storm. The lyrics read, "You look at me, but you don't hug me anymore. Is this love, or just a habit that is difficult to abandon?" At the time the song was released, not many people paid attention to its meaning. But now, after Jungkook and Taehyung were in the studio, thousands of fans are playing the song again, trying to find clues that Jimin may have been hiding through the tone and words. Did Jimin know in advance that the relationship between these two friends began to change? Or is he just writing down his own feelings, which, apparently, also have to do with the internal dynamics of the group? ARMY began to make a red thread. Fan edit videos began flooding social media. Footage of Jimin looking confused while watching Taehyung and Jungkook interact backstage went viral. One of the videos shows the moment when Jimin looks at Taehyung after he ignores Jungkook's greeting. The look is not angry, but blank. It's as if you're holding on to an unspoken word. Then, shortly after the video appeared, Jimin uploaded a simple sentence on his personal social platform. Sometimes, you can just watch someone get lost without knowing how to pick him up. ARMY tears broke out. Comments flooded in. Many said they could feel how hard Jimin tried to take care of the two people he loved without being able to interfere too deeply. And in the midst of all that, another name came back quietly but meaningfully. Namjoon, as the leader of BTS, is known as a wise thinker. He may not always speak fast, but when he speaks, the whole world listens. A few days after a long silence, finally appeared on the Korean radio broadcast. Without naming names or specific events, he said something that kept the entire ARMY silent. Sometimes you unconsciously force someone to be a mirror of you, not yourself. ARMY knows. They know who they're talking about. And suddenly, what's been hidden feels so obvious. Jungkook, with his sincerity and love, may be subconsciously demanding Taehyung to stay the way he used to be. To keep equalizing steps. To keep walking on the path he felt was BTS road. But Taehyung, he's no longer the teenager he used to just follow. He was already a man, with his own head, with wounds that he may not always be able to share, with the desire to maybe shut up for a moment and think again. Then, where is HYB in all this? The company's silence frustrated ARMY. They demanded clarification, even if it was just to say that everything was fine. But as always, when it comes to members' emotions and personal dynamics, HYB chooses silence. Even the event, which was supposed to feature behind-the-scenes footage of BTS's latest song-making process, was suddenly postponed. No reason. Fans began to ask further. Was there any internal pressure that made Jungkook say that sentence? Did Taehyung actually signal his withdrawal from a particular project and Jungkook couldn't take it? Or worse, is this all the result of a long fatigue that they never really rest? In the middle of the night, Japan's largest fanbase shared rumors of someone claiming to be a staff member who was on site when the incident occurred. In the post, it was written that before Jungkook said, "If you really still care, you'll say before I have to guess everything alone." He and Taehyung had a heated discussion in a closed room. IT has said that the atmosphere began to heat up because Taehyung wanted to postpone participation in the promotional video of BTS's upcoming collaboration project, and Jungkook felt the decision should have been discussed together. The two were silent before filming began, and the moment was clearly captured through a tense expression that later went viral. Is that really what happened? No one knows for sure. But one thing is certain. Jungkook's sentence that night was no ordinary sentence. IT was the voice of someone tired of being guessed at, the voice of someone who is disappointed because they are not given a place to feel they have direction. And Taehyung, he didn't leave out of anger. He left because his heart was probably too full to be able to sit still in the room. He left not because he hated, but because he no longer knew how to answer. Now, the most awaited moment comes. Will they meet again in the next project? There is a schedule that says it will bring all BTS members together next month in a special group photo shoot. But after all this, could they be present in a single frame without a shadow of unfinished emotions? ARMY stand by. They're not just fans. They are witnesses to this emotional journey. And as they always say, if BTS